people think you're calm, but they don't see how overwhelmed you are inside. You don't raise your voice. You don't panic in public. You don't make a scene when things get heavy, so people assume you're fine. But what they don't see is the noise that starts the moment you're alone. The thoughts that stack on top of each other, the constant pressure to stay in control, the quiet exhaustion that never really goes away. Have you noticed how often people say you're so calm, as if it's a compliment? As if calm means peaceful. As if calm means nothing hurts. As if calm means nothing is happening inside. But calm can be a mask. And sometimes it's a mask you learned to wear a long time ago. You didn't become this way because life was easy. You became this way because at some point staying composed felt safer than falling apart. Because reacting didn't help. Because explaining how you felt pointless. Because you learned that being low maintenance kept things stable, so you adapted. You learned how to swallow reactions before they reached your face. You learned how to breathe through moments that overwhelmed you. You learned how to nod, smile, and say it's fine even when it wasn't. And over time, people stopped asking if you were okay. Not because they didn't care, but because you looked like you had everything under control. The world moves fast now. Faster conversations, faster expectations, faster decisions. There's always something to respond to, something to manage, something to keep up with. And when everything around you is loud, being calm starts to feel like a responsibility, like your role. Like something you can't drop without disappointing people. So you keep it together. You become the one who doesn't overreact, the one who listens, the one who stays rational, the one who doesn't need much. But inside it's different. Inside you replay conversations, you overthink small moments. You carry emotional weight quietly because you don't want to burden anyone. You feel deeply, but you express selectively, and that takes energy, a lot of energy. What most people don't realize is that emotional control is not the same as emotional peace. Just because you're not reacting doesn't mean you're not affected. Just because you're calm doesn't mean you're okay. It often means you're holding a lot in. Sometimes you don't even notice how much you're carrying until you're exhausted for no clear reason. Until simple things feel heavy. Until silence feels loud. Until you're tired, but not the kind of tired that sleep fixes. And the hardest part is this: people rarely check on the calm ones. They assume you don't need it. They assume you'll speak up if something's wrong. They assume you're strong enough to handle it. So you become invisible in your own struggle. Not intentionally, just gradually. Maybe you were the one who had to mature fast. Maybe emotions around you were unpredictable, so you learned to stabilize yourself. Maybe you noticed that being composed made things easier for everyone else, so you chose calm. And over time it stopped being a choice. It became a habit. You stopped sharing every thought, you stopped reacting to every feeling, you stopped letting things show. Not because you don't feel, but because you feel too much. There's a quiet fear underneath it all. The fear that if you let go, even a little, everything might spill out. That if you stop holding it together, you won't know how to stop. So you stay calm, you stay controlled, you stay fine. And yes, there is strength in that. But there's also cost. Because when you're always calm, people don't see when you're overwhelmed. They don't notice when you're close to your limit. They don't realize how much effort it takes just to appear steady. And eventually, you might start to believe that this is just how life feels. Heavy, but manageable. Loud, but silent on the outside. Here's something important to hear. There is nothing wrong with you. This isn't a flaw. It's not emotional coldness. It's not weakness. It's a coping style. It's how your system learned to survive pressure, complexity, and emotional overload. It worked. It protected you. And it probably still does, in some ways. But protection doesn't always mean comfort. The goal isn't to stop being calm. The goal isn't to suddenly become expressive or dramatic or different. The goal is to tell the difference between real calm and emotional suppression. Real calm feels light. It feels grounded. It doesn't require effort. Suppression feels tight. It feels controlled. It feels like you're constantly monitoring yourself. One small shift that helps is allowing yourself to notice what's happening inside without rushing to manage it. Just noticing. No fixing. No explaining. No judging. Another gentle step is letting one safe person see a little more than you usually show. Not everything, just a little honesty, a sentence instead of silence, a "this has been heavy" instead of "I'm fine." You don't have to unload. You don't have to justify your feelings. You don't have to turn it into a big moment. You're just reminding yourself that you're allowed to be human, not just composed. It also helps to slow things down internally, even when the world won't. Pausing before responding, giving yourself permission to not have immediate clarity, letting some thoughts pass without following them. Calm doesn't have to mean constant self-control. It can mean trust. Trust that you don't need to hold everything together all the time. And maybe the most important thing to remember is this: you are not the only one like this. So many people walk around appearing steady while carrying quiet storms inside. They function, they smile, they show up, and they feel overwhelmed in ways no one sees. You're not strange for this. You're not broken. You adapted to a fast, demanding world the best way you knew how. If you choose to change this pattern, it doesn't mean rejecting who you are. It means softening the parts of you that learn to stay rigid. You can still be calm, just not at your own expense. You can still be strong, just not silent all the time. And you can still hold things together while letting yourself breathe inside. So if today you look calm, but feel overwhelmed, know this: that feeling makes sense, you make sense, and you don't have to carry everything alone, even if you've learned how to. Calm on the outside doesn't have to mean chaos inside. And little by little, you're allowed to make space for both.